So, the new things coming to iRacing. Next build, Delar IR01, which we've heard extensively about. Looks quite interesting, looks like a lot of fun, but we won't know until we get to try it. As of now, this is Tuesday evening. We will try this probably Wednesday evening. Dirt modifieds, I'm not super interested in that. It looks, I mean, for those interested in dirt, excellent, but not my forte. Lamborghini Huracan GT3, excellent. Cedar Lake Speedway, don't know much about it. Again, not my wheelhouse. Long Beach will be good fun. It's good to see it finally finished because I quite like the layout. I'm not sure how popular it's going to be, give it like a year, but again, I expect it to look stunning once we actually have a pop at it. How the FPS will hold up, I'm not sure, but we'll find out. Brands Hatch Rallycross and Charlotte Rallycross. So I've seen the videos of the Cisco, I believe it is, doing laps around there, and yeah, layouts look like a lot of fun, so that looks good. Irwindale Speedway Figure 8 Jump, that's like prime week 13 shenanigans, looking forward to that. Cross license racing, my understanding of that is, from what I heard like during last season, a bit of talk about, you know, you need a road license for the road races on like NIS, for example, in stock cars. Likewise, for the Indy Road Series, if it goes to Oval, then your Oval license will apply there. So it's just mixing that so that despite the car you're driving, if it goes to a road track, you use your road license and so on. 3D car viewer. Again, I've heard guys talk about this. I think this is useful for like painters. So it's probably not going to be super applicable to me as a driver, but it'll be quite interesting. So we have new AI racing content. It's good for those super interested in AI. It's not, again, my wheelhouse. It's not part of like stuff that I frequently do, but you know, it's good to see it's moving in the right direction. Tire updates on many cars. This is quite interesting. What that entails, obviously, we don't know until we try it. Wall proximity, aerodynamics effects for numbered stock cars. I guess that's just make sure the aero works whenever you're up against a wall or running the high line and stuff like that. Not going to know for certain until we try it. Significant new damage model updates. The NDM, I actually think it works reasonably well considering how early it is and how like it, you know, it's been rolled out, but it's not, you know, across the entire service to say it's done. We've nailed it, sort of a thing. So improvements there, if they are improvements, is a good thing. Night lighting. Again, that's going to be good, especially for me with poor eyesight. If I have to do a late stint in enduro. Russian spotter pack. Dennis Grabowski is going to be delighted for that. And all the Russians, really. I think that's good that they're branching out. Multiple tire compounds for the Delar IR18. Is that for the IR18 or for the IR01? I guess we'll scroll down and double check it. And then the new damage model added to the IR18 as well. It is for the IR18? Okay, cool. Interesting. For both? Excellent. Alright. So, UI, I'm going to go through the entire thing here and kind of just see what there is to spot. Licenses, official events will now have the ability to utilize and adjust the iRate and safety rating for a license class other than that which is required to join the event. Okay, so this is the cross-license stuff. So for example, when Indy Series that requires C-license road goes to Oval for week 3, uses Oval iRating and safety rating for crane splits. Cool. Gift cards into the store in the UI. Excellent. Race Now button to every week of the season schedule allows users to test drive or create hosted sessions based on the configuration of the selected week. Excellent for those of us who do data packs. Quite useful, I think, for me. Creating a race, fixed an issue we're removing and then adding an admin from the selected admin's step of create a race was encountering an error. So this is just like bug fixing, really. Some filtering issues fixed and search tags are updated. Again, good. League sessions schedule has been inverted. Not sure really what that means. Oh, probably the order of races, I suppose. That might be interesting because PESC now has moved into league format, so I guess, you know, looking at that, it might look proper for those who run leagues regularly. Just one for you. 3D car viewer. So some cars within the UI, such as that from my content now, features 3D car viewer. Clicking the tab will open a full dynamic 3D model, rendered in real time. Controls for how to use it. Display of all liveries are supported, including custom livery files saved in your machine. So detects immediately, no need to load the sim to check your work. Excellent. So that saves having to load a replay or whatever to update a file or update a paint file. So for the painters, excellent. That's a good thing. New sponsor. I love this. This is great. Apex Racing Academy F3 Championship. Good to see. And we have logos available for the sponsor. Fantastic. So all my cars will now be adorned with that. 3kg hack, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. Also, might as well give a shout out to Turn Racing as well, who've got themselves loaded in and they're ready to roll too. New sponsor logo for SimLabs, and car decals have been darkened slightly to better match the rendering of the car paint. So just little paint things. Last one, fix an issue where your car can sometimes not display the correct wheel rim colors, number colors, or fonts. Cool. Bueno. Anything where it says fix an issue, like, that's a good thing. I know it's not like super exciting for a lot of people, but it's always difficult to prioritize fixing issues and fixing bugs. It's all about, you know, people only really care about new content, so yeah, fixing issues as you go is still a good thing. On the member site, gift cards are back. Cool. That's the only thing for the website. Alright, race control stuff. When a race finishes under caution, you now receive the same pace order message as you would under any other caution. Friends, unexpected penalty, should pass on out. Cool. Little things. Fix an issue with the new pit exit delay race control system where the first and last cars in the grid are either side. Okay, cool. Again, these are just little bug fixes more than anything. Track surface model, new convection coefficient and solar constant calculations have been added. In general, the track should retain more heat energy from cars as a result. That's quite important then, I believe, for the multi-groove racing on oval, especially. And if that comes back, excellent for the oval guys. What it'll do for road is, if this works as it should, in large field races, the leaders will have an advantage because they'll have a cooler track to run on. Guys at the back of the pack will have a hotter surface to run over. So this is kind of what we suffered a little bit in when I was running the F1 World Championship, sort of, you know, 3 years ago, when they first brought in the sort of improved surface model. Like, if you could run up at the front, even if your car wasn't quick, like, your race pace tended to look better than maybe what it actually was because you had a cooler track to run on. If you're down in the pack, even if you had a quick car, it was very hard to actually do anything with it. It wasn't a dirty air thing, it was just a raw lack of grip. Could be a precursor for rain affecting surface temps as well. Yeah, a lot of this stuff I think is working towards rain, a lot of these little adjustments. Pat's comment there, just hope the improvement in tires about the wiggle in the brakes. Yeah, driving the Corvette, I kind of noticed that the most. But yeah, I've heard that, yeah, more for the pogoing. We'll get through to that. But that traffic service model, depends on how much that they've worked with that, will determine on how severe the effect. It's not uncommon for an iRacing patch note to be a one-line thing, but be a huge game changer. Driving lines are enabled. Pit exit driving lines now appear for road courses that require any unique pit exit paths. That's probably for the newer guys less appropriate, or well, not appropriate, but less essential for someone like myself. Dirt racing, 1 second cooldown has been added to firing the ignition for all dirt racing vehicles. That's right. That's a very small little thing. Bunch of AI stuff updated for the Dallara and the trucks. Or sorry, added to the P2 and the trucks, and then available at Imola and Interlagos, which is cool. Having it for Interlagos is actually kind of useful for us for PESC, in case we want to do, like, you know, practice races without creating a hosted, so that's quite interesting. Updates to the AI driver, the skill performance, and specialized training, and updates in certain configs, vehicle properties. Yeah, just general AI updates and improvements. New tire spec. This is quite an interesting one. So, adjustment corrects issues with grip at the contact patch and alleviates issues with low load spike correction where the vehicle could bounce around. So, this is probably, yeah, as Nathan, I believe, mentioned before about the sort of like low speed pogoing that you would get. Don't really get a lot of pogo at high speed, but for all of these cars, this is now included. So how this drives or how this would affect setups, I'm not sure. We'll see. See what way they've went about that. Look forward to trying a lot of this stuff out tomorrow. When did Mac and GT3 ever bounce? That's a good question. It didn't ever really. So for the cars in which it works out fine, you know, does that make it like impossible for it to bounce? So you just run a car slammed and just, you know, crush the deck and it doesn't do anything. RSR had a big issue. I never really raced it a lot. Will bounce with the new aero. Yeah, good point. Okay, I guess that's somewhere down here. Stock car tires for short ovals and road courses have been made more forgiving over the limit. Oh, that's a shame. Because when I drove Richmond last week, the lack of forgiveness was a lot of fun. But, yeah. That's... we'll see how that goes. I liked the sheer lack of grip, but we'll see how that goes. Aerodynamics. So stock cars have updates based on wall proximity, realistic interactions. So I guess if the wall, Goofy Tyler, thanks for the follow. So like coming off the wall, maybe at like a Indy, for example, becomes more of an important thing. I don't know. Maybe not so much in a stock car. If they apply that to Indy or for the IR18. Maybe that's an important thing, but we'll see. Oh yeah, no name corner in the RSR was, yeah, Pogo Central, I agree. Right. Excuse me. Another talking point, track-specific custom competitive setups. So I'd like to think this isn't the death of those who, you know, those companies that provide setups across the board. So it's custom-built competitive setups for each of the 12 races scheduled within a vehicle's official series. Created by iRacers from a variety of backgrounds, from DWC drivers to well-respected community setup builders. Can confirm, not part of this. Was not asked to contribute. So whilst I fit into both of these categories of being a World Championship driver and part of a well-respected community setup builders with the Apex Racing Academy. There's Pablo as well, shedding tears. So, this is interesting. So this is the list of cars that they have here. So, the Arca Menard, Audi R18, Monte Carlo, the F3, the new IR01, Pro 2 truck, MP430, so on down through the list there. Oh, Mr. Michael's comment about the bouncing for the P2 for the suspension. It might fix that, we'll see. So yeah, this is going to get quite interesting. Just curious how good those setups are, how competitive they are, and how much we can improve upon them. So, time will tell. It's not everything that we cover, so like we still have obviously a place in what we do, but it's interesting that they've taken the decision to go with this. Again, we'll have to see how those setups drive. First runs out tomorrow will probably include, you know, taking on their set and see how it is and see what I think of it. Again, we'll have to see. As cars update though and parameters change, like do the sets still stay competitive as we go? Like are they going to keep updating them or not? I don't know. Customer competitive setups, more on that. So we have created many brand new sets of custom built competitive sets for multiple track types. New initiative to give all our members an opportunity to be more competitive. They were created by iRacing, blah blah blah. Is that not the same as... Oh, this is the track specific stuff and this is just the track types. Okay, so yeah. For the more for the cars that kind of suit like, you know, a one setup kind of can work most places. So your GT cars primarily, and that's what we've got here along with the Dallara. The Dallara P2. Okay, that's interesting. So, the other comment, the notes page within the setup has been updated to give parameter adjustment recommendations. Okay. So they're basically going to give you like a little setup sheet, so like, oh, if you're struggling with X, then change this. If you're struggling with Y, then change it the other way, so on and so forth. Again, we'll have to look at that. New damage model. Now enabled for the IR18. It's quite a bulky update. I'll leave it there to sort of read through. We did see I seen on Twitter, iRacing put a video of the shunt into the wall at Long Beach, and things kind of split out quite nicely. It looked quite good. So a lot of work's gone into trying making this a lot better. And if it works well here, and then if it can work well in a GT car, then it can probably transition, you know, across the entire service. So it's interesting that using the IR18 as like their test dummy. We'll see how this goes though. So actually, this first thing. So I'm actually going to read this properly. So this first part. Okay, that's a good change because it's been frustrating. Well, I wouldn't say frustrating because I haven't actually had it happen to myself, but guys have been frustrated with like incidents happening and they run over like a broken wing or whatever, and it just completely annihilated the car through no real fault of their own. So detached parts, yeah, especially when they become invisible. So yeah, that's a good thing. Disabled by half a second after it's no longer touching the physical object, and then may no longer interact with the other physical object. Okay, cool. So they're adding like cooldowns essentially to stop like these instant just disintegration of cars, sort of a thing, upon contact and as parts break off, colliding with it. Alright, so NDM looks good. We've still had teething issues with it up to this point, so hopefully this will correct a lot of that. Old damage model, for those on the old damage model, collision incident reporting has been updated so that world impacts check for if the surface is a non-racing material before reporting an incident. Okay. So that I think covers like hard compressions on like, so if you bottom out really hard, it doesn't like give you a 0x for it or anything like that. Pit stop animations have been optimized. And then fixing issues where animations fail properly. Cool. Fix issues with rendering. Again, these little things that you kind of sort of forget about and think, oh, well, that's maybe a bit crummy, but they're kind of updating as they go along, which is a good thing. Ambient lighting has been adjusted. Overall lighting and shadows should be a bit darker. Ah, that's interesting. I thought it would have been brighter, but yeah, okay, if it goes... Well, it actually kind of makes sense for it to go darker because it does seem quite bright if you set it up in such a way for it to be. Stadium lighting on smoke and dust puffs has been improved. Okay, I guess that'll look quite nice, especially at like dirt tracks at night. Gives a a nicer effect there. Visual effects, fixing an issue where concrete impact effects persisted too long. Interesting. Some in-car engine updates on NASCAR vehicles. A lot of this stuff is like kind of not super important to me, but it's there, it's little updates, it's all good. New method for detecting X input has been enabled for joysticks. I'll probably not even look and touch at that personally. Not super important with like vibrating pedal maximum percentage and such. Russian spotter, if you want to meme about, or if you are Russian, one of the two. There you go. Excellent. Video capture, so an API update, and fixes a lockup with shutdown that some users were experiencing. Okay, yeah, so kind of another niche thing, but there we go. So the car updates, I think we kind of covered a lot of this. We'll sort of scroll through. So the Arkham Menard's got NDM changes, the R18's track specific custom competitive setups, Audi R8 LMS. Car physics have been retooled and are largely in line with the sister car, the Huracan GT3. Both cars have been BOP tested extensively against the rest of the class. Right, I will be very picky here, just with the wording of that. If has it been? Yes, it may have been extensively tested. Does that mean that the cars are balanced, or did you just, or was it tested and then just, all right, well, Audi and Lambo are half a second quicker. Enjoy the rest of your season. Yeah. Hard to say. Glass panels have been placed over the digital display, so that's going to look a little different once we jump in. Max steering lock has been increased in the TCR, and tooltip issues have been sorted and clarified the language for optional 5th and 6th gear issues. Cool. M4 GT4, aerodynamic downforce has been adjusted, fueling rate has been adjusted. In what way? This is what I like. I almost get a little bit frustrated with these BOP adjustments. It doesn't say what the adjustment is. Is it an improvement? Is it a nerf? Is it, you know, the M4 typically struggled against the Cayman, except at like a track, for example, like Monza or Daytona, it would kind of come into its own because it's better in a straight line. That was my understanding of it. So we'll see. M8 GTA custom competitive setups have been added. So there's no like M8, or sorry, no GTA update in terms of like tire modeling, I guess, aside from what was maybe mentioned before. Or was the tire specific stuff? Okay, yeah, so yeah, the tire across the majority of the main cars. Okay. So we'll try not to forget about that as we go through, but for everything else, I think it's, you know, static. The BOP hasn't been touched or anything like that. But they could have changed weight, but sometimes don't say. They normally do say if they're BOPing by weight, because last season the Audi and the Ferrari, I believe, got 2.5 kg changes. Packer heights have been disabled in the Corvette. Okay. Interesting. That was only in for one season. Monte Carlo braking temperature threshold has been adjusted to improve brake feel. Can't say I know too much about that. Dallara F3 tire warmer temperature has been increased to 60 degrees Celsius for better cold tire performance. That's, I think, a good thing for those who regularly run F3, because the opening lap, especially on a cold track, was very difficult. Very difficult. Minimum allowed, or words, minimum allowable cold tire pressure, up to 18 psi. What was that before? Was it like 115 kPa? What's that in psi? That seems like a fairly small change. Was that like up to 124? Kind of off the top of my head. I could be wrong with that. Maybe 121. No, sorry, 120. It's 124 or 127, isn't it? In and around that. So it's a small change. But, you know, setups will need to be adjusted accordingly. Aerodynamic maps were modified so that appropriate values are used at extreme ride heights. Okay, so this is to stop maybe some weird buggy setups, you know, breaking the sim. Could be wrong. And then the track specific setups. The Dallara IR01. Okay, so this is an important one. So this is our new fantasy car. Fantasy in the such that, well, I would call it more a concept car than a fantasy car, because it's been designed. It is a car. It's just not in production. I like the link coming soon here. We'll definitely have to give that a purchase. So 900 horsepower, 600 kilograms is ridiculous, really. That's a lot of of horsepower for very little weight. 3-liter V10. The videos that iRacing, you know, turned out regarding it sounds incredible, really. Result is an aggressive car that races well in traffic, and it's a pure thrill ride to drive. Sounds fun. Has the multiple tire compounds again, which is pretty cool. There's the. Is that new, Nathan? Oh, looks this is just gonna come straight up on stream here. We'll take a quick look. Yeah, okay, so there's some of the extras. So not the greatest amount of torque, so it's quite low torque. Alright, excellent. That looks quite interesting. I have the schedule as well open here. So, soft, medium, hard tire. Each behaves as real-world tires of the selected compound. That's quite interesting for a car that doesn't actually, you know, run in real life. I guess that's stripped from what they dropped in last season for the MP430. Those sound excellent. My concern is that they've made a car so blindingly fast that it actually won't create great racing because the braking zones will be so short. So there's talk of, oh yeah, it's not like an aerodynamically super sensitive car. You know, so racing will be competitive, but if the car is so quick over the course of a lap, then, you know, there isn't going to be so many overtaking opportunities. Like, you're going to have to get alongside well before the braking zone. You can't just outbrake someone there. Like you kind of can in, say, the Porsche Cup car, which we were on in the Porsche Taycan Esports Super Cup, where, you know, the brakes are objectively per for the, you know, a race car of that kind of speed. So the braking distances are longer, so there's more room for driver skill to come into play. But in terms of a car to drive, it sounds amazing. So looking forward to trying that tomorrow. IR18 tire spec has been updated. New damage model, multiple tire compounds. Engine power temperature sensitivity model has been added, so if it gets too hot, the car begins to lose horsepower. That's quite interesting. Fuel consumption has been improved. Different wicker available at Indy. Aero and drafting has been updated. Fuel mass has been updated. Pit crews and setups have been updated. P217, we covered the updates that fuel fill rate has been increased. There were issues, I believe, last season with the inconsistency of the fuel rate. Depending on how much you were fueling, like in an IMSA or IMSA race, it would, you know, you have a difference of like up to 4 seconds between, you know, fueling the same amount, which is ridiculous. So I believe that's either addressed with that or is being addressed. That's still quite a vague sort of thing based off of what we had experienced, so we'll see how that goes moving forward. Dirt late model as an engine sounds improved. Dirt modified, new car. With the big block modified in 358. I'll probably get it because I got 100% content. But it's not my wheelhouse, unfortunately. I'll probably not race it unless it's like a random thing that I end up doing. Alright, first GT3 that matters to me because I do data packs for it, so this will be interesting. Alright, tire spec updated as we've seen before. BOP adjustments, aerodynamic lift, drag and downforce have been adjusted slightly. In what way, we don't know. I don't know. It just adjusted. What way? Like, are we going to see improvements or nerfs? I would hope improvements because the car is not super quick at the moment. Aerodynamic model has been updated, so I'm going to assume this goes in line with the GTE aero update from last season. We'll see. Engine power has been increased slightly. That's good because it sucks at high-speed tracks. No matter how good it is over a curb at Monza, it's still not quick enough to get around there. Center of gravity has been raised slightly. That's thumbs down on that one, so it's not going to handle quite as well. Fuel economy has been adjusted slightly. Again, what way? Is it better? Is it worse? I don't know. Maximum allowable ride heights have been adjusted. Depends on how severe these aero changes are, will determine whether we're starting to push those limits again, because beforehand we weren't in either direction, both rear max or min or front max or min. Rear wing adjustment range has been narrowed. Okay, that's interesting. We shall see. New road racing updates on the Form 2. Interesting. Oh, right, okay. 488 GT, we covered those changes before. Fiesta setups are updated. GT3 for the Ford. I'm surprised that they're still keeping this thing running but yeah, that's what it is. What are you referring to, Hamburglar? Ah, okay. IMSA moves from C to B. The R8, GT3, and Merc are taken out of IMSA, and the Huracan and the M4 will eventually join in a couple of weeks. Okay, that's quite interesting. Okay. And there'll be no BMW at the start of the series, or start of the season for... Okay, I wonder how that reads and how that works. Are we saying that there's no Z4 at all? Or there won't be an M4 and the Z4 will be phased out as of... Alright, no Z4 at all. Ah, that's a shame. Completely replaces and the Z4 will not. Okay, Z4 becomes legacy product. That's a shame. Yeah, Z4 didn't get any updates and releases. Yeah, that kind of makes sense then. Okay. And then the Dallara Formula IR 01, I guess, or I guess that's the name series, Formula IR. C license, interesting. I guess that's to get people racing it rather than, like, it should, for a car of that spec, it should be A class, but gets, yeah, maximum number of members an opportunity to experience the amazing car, revisit that at a later date. I guess that will be revisited at a later date. Cars will race at Grand Prix tracks all over the world, races that are 200 kilometers in length and feature tracks. Yeah. Additional details on the spec of World Championship Series will be announced at a later date. Okay, cool. This car is significantly more approachable than many high-level vehicles on the service. Okay, so if this car is really easy to drive, then again that makes things really, really tight. How good would the racing be if the car is really easy to drive? Again, I can only know this once we really get into it. IMSA and ALMS will become European Sprint Series and European Endurance Series respectively. These will debut at A license. Okay, cool. Schedule is, I think, somewhere on the forum as well. If you guys want to go grab it. So that's sad that the Z4 is being retired. I genuinely thought that it would survive a little bit longer. But all good things must come to an end. So, whilst I never really loved the car, well, we got racing it last week. It was OP in its last week of competitive competition, which is good. I thought the Ford GT3 would have been kicked well before that, but yeah. It's not the McLaren GT3 older. I think they're about the same age. I'm not sure. They're both before my time. Major updates to the Ford GT3. Drag increase, engine power increase slightly. That's interesting. Short stack's still probably going to be OP then, unless something else is different here. Increased center of gravity, but weight reduced. Rear wing adjustment change. Fuel economy, downshift parameters adjusted. Additional anti-dive, okay. That might stop the car like smashing off the deck then. Okay, that's interesting. Update the shift lights to match the power curve. So optimal shift point is like between 7250 and 7500. I actually didn't know, I kind of just went off to like the sound of the engine. And then further updates. Ford, GTA covered. Mustang engine sounds updated, as with the MX-5 in-car sounds. Huracan GT3. So this is now going to be in IMSA as well as VRS GT. Quite interesting. So we'll see how that goes. And all of the details around that there. I'm more interested in how it drives than its history, but that's just me. Legends Ford, it's been updated. Lotus 49, oh, that's been updated, cool. Road bar settings is adjusted, rear ride height markers been adjusted. Probably doesn't change a ton, to be fair. 42 trucks of the setups now. Yeah, a lot of these are kind of the same in terms of updates for the GT3s. It's just a lot of things going on here, so we're going to have to do a deep dive. I've got 3, possibly 4 GT3s to work on next season, so that'll take a fair bit of my time. It's hard to know whether they've really buffed it because a lot of this information is quite vague. It's like, oh, things are updated or increased and reduced slightly, but we don't have numbers to that or like percentages, so it's hard to really say. More power for the Maca is nice. Yeah, that is good. So the same updates as before. The custom one for the Maca is the positions 5 and 6 have been removed on the rear roll bar. That's interesting. So I ran like 6 most of the way last season, if not the entire way, just because the car wouldn't turn otherwise. So with the updated everything, will that mean that I'm not going to miss that? I don't know. Again, we're going to have to see. Heavy 430, we covered Merc GT3. Same adjustments as with the other GT3s. Modified SK for all versions of it. Again, if you're interested in that, then go for it. Chevy Monte Carlo. Adjustments. So I guess that we covered those before with the against the wall. Tire pressures, range expansion. Cool. The NASCAR Cup Series cars, covered those. Thunderbird updated, same as the Chevy. The trucks, again, we covered those. There's nothing extra on top of that, as with the Xfinities. Porsche branding update on the Cayman, the GT3 Cup car. Now, I've heard the guys sort of chat about this. Tire spec's been updated, same as before. The rear air be changed on the Maca. Again, yeah, because we typically run it so high to get it turning. How important that is, we'll find out. Aerodynamic downforce has been reduced greatly. Quite interesting. This car doesn't have a lot of downforce to begin with. I read that personally as downforce reduced, but drag isn't reduced either. It's just downforce taken off the car. That along with the tire spec, which was mentioned before, it's quite a big change. We're going to have to see how the car drives. I'm going to have a first proper taste of that on Saturday with the Porsche Taycan Esports Super Cup Media Day. So stay tuned for that as well. Apart from that, like, again, these are, you know, it's 2 lines on, you know, the car update, but like those changes could completely change how we put the car together, how we drive it, everything. So anxious on that one. So it's not left now. Yeah, maybe coming down the Mulsanne will take off. Alright, cool. The RSR we covered again with the other GT changes. The 919, same changes as the R8. Radical SR8 setup change, or setup's been updated. Again, it's not a car I drive, but for baseline sets, because that's a fixed series now, I believe. I guess that's important for that. The roof, tire spec's been updated. Excellent. Good to see that they're still working on that. Again, minor stuff down through here. Straight stock, yeah, fixed an issue with gear was being counted twice. That's an interesting little one. Didn't notice that. Video's going to be only 3 hours long. Yeah, when I run through this stuff, it usually takes me a fair bit of time. And then legacy content where they've mucked about with the DW12 and the same way with the IR18. And then tracks. Monza, we've got smooth, some bumps in the surface around turn 7 and turn 11. Turn 7 is... Well, 11 is Parabolica, it must be. 7 is... Is that Lesmo 2? Brands Hatch, so we mentioned this before about the RX configuration. That'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to having a swing at that because classic British rallycross track. Come on, it's gonna be great. Cedar Lake, Dirt Oval. For those interested in Dirt Oval, excellent, but it's not my wheelhouse, so I'll kind of skim through it. Charlotte now has a rallycross track, which from the video that iRacing posted out, it looks really, really good. Hopefully I'll drive it a bit better than Cisco, but we'll see. Homestead has basically environment changes, and yep, some updates to reflect real world stuff. Cool. Irwindale now has a figure 8 jump. That's going to be hilarious. Kentucky has photographers. Linear has new shaders, and fixed an issue where pace cars sometimes drive directly through the pit wall. Definitely don't want to be seeing that. Rallycross in the UK has to be Lydden Hill. That's true. If they can get Lydden Hill, that'll be amazing. For Hell, the A with the... I'm not familiar with my foreign Norwegian lettering, but there we go. It's there. It's updated. Lernerville has collisions enabled. Long Beach, this is the one that a lot of people are interested in. Rolson, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. So I'm interested in how this will go and how this track will go. I'm actually quite interested to see. Customers who previously owned the Long Beach Street Circuit Tech Track have been awarded $5 in iRacing credits. That was the cost of the Tech Track to begin with, so we're just getting our money back on that. Long Beach, I also kind of worry a little bit about frame rate because it's been taking so long to get everything working right. How is everyone's PC going to hold up? I don't know. I said I don't know an awful lot of this, but we can only speculate at this point until we try it. RIP VR users on Long Beach? Yeah, possibly. Belle Isle is reasonably popular and is similar. True. But it's certainly no like Spa or Watkins or Monza in terms of popularity on the road side of things, if that makes sense. Long Beach IMSA is going to be a nightmare. Agreed. Multi-class racing shouldn't be at Long Beach. I feel it's street circuits and multi-class I don't think mix well, but it's a different challenge for those who are interested in giving it a go. So I expect, based off of what we're saying, it'll look incredible, but will our PCs handle it? We're going to find out. Oh, IMS can't go to Long Beach next European now? Can't, but yeah, well. Once everything goes live, obviously we'll have our link there to add it to your basket and go purchase. North Wilkesboro has some issues where old point cloud data was seeping into iRacing landscape track. Interesting. Safety foam at Texas was installed backwards. Good to see that that's not the right direction. Wheat Sport has some collision parameters where I fixed some collision parameters in wall sections, and then finally Pocono, the old layout, animated pit stops have been enabled at this track on. So that's everything for patch notes. It's been fun sort of scrolling through this and getting your guys' thoughts on it as well. Any thoughts on the rolling starts for the Dallara? I did spot that, or where did I spot that? Is it in the... Oh, it might be in here. So it'll be C-Class Road. Yeah, alright. So there's our schedule for that. Kind of makes sense, yes, for C-Class, but Sandy's alright, I think is where it's at. So there's our schedule. Bear in mind, this is a common thing. If a schedule has centripetal in its layout, that would typically mean that that's just a placeholder for a new track. We're not going to run 63 laps of a circle, essentially. Is any series going to Knock Hill? No, because unfortunately Knock Hill is not yet released, but we can't have Knock Hill until we have rain. So that's the gist of it. Yeah. I'm going to actually... Well, what time are we at? Okay, so we'll start something soon. But yeah, that's patch notes and a little bit on the schedule. Hope we all have a lot of fun with that as the build comes out on Wednesday.